Amancio Ortega. You've probably never heard his name, but you've definitely heard of what he built. Zara, the world's largest fashion retailer. His company, Inditex, operates 7,400 stores across 96 countries. 8 different brands. Over $40 billion in annual revenue. 165,000 employees worldwide. And Amancio Ortega himself? He's worth $147 billion, making him the second richest man in Europe and the 10th richest person on planet Earth. But here's what makes his story absolutely insane. This man, this billionaire who built a global empire, started as a 13-year-old school dropout. His father was a railway worker earning almost nothing. His mother cleaned houses for wealthy families. And one day, young Amancio watched his mother get publicly humiliated at a grocery store because she couldn't afford to pay for food. The owner shamed her in front of everyone. The boy stood there, helpless and furious, and made a vow. He would never be poor again. He would never let his family suffer like this. 76 years later, that promise became a $147 billion empire. For a brief moment in 2015, Amancio Ortega was the richest man on the entire planet. Richer than Bill Gates, richer than Warren Buffett, richer than anyone. This is the true story of Amancio Ortega, the delivery boy who revolutionized the entire fashion industry forever. Amancio Ortega Gaona was born on March 28, 1936, in Bustongo de Arbas, a tiny village in Leon, Spain. He was the youngest of 4 children. His father, Antonio Ortega Rodriguez, worked as a railway laborer. His mother, Josefa Gaona Hernandez, was a housemaid for wealthy families in the area. They had almost nothing. Spain was in the middle of devastating political chaos. The Spanish Civil War was destroying the country. Families like the Ortegas were starving. When Amancio was a child, his mother took him to the grocery store one day. She didn't have enough money to pay for the food. The store owner humiliated her publicly. He shamed her in front of other customers. He made her feel worthless. Young Amancio stood there watching, helpless, embarrassed, furious, and in that moment something broke inside him. He made a decision. He would never be poor. He would never let his family go through that again. He would do whatever it took to escape poverty. At age 13, Amancio dropped out of school. There was no choice. His family needed money to survive. He moved to La Coruca, a port city in Galicia in northwestern Spain, where his father had found work with the railway. And Amancio got his first job, delivery boy for a local shirt shop called Gala. Gala was an upscale men's clothing store that catered to wealthy customers. Amancio would deliver custom-made shirts to rich clients across the city. He watched how these wealthy people lived, how they dressed, how they spent money without thinking twice. And he learned something critical. Clothing was expensive because the entire system was broken. Manufacturers made clothes in massive batches months in advance. They sold to wholesalers. Wholesalers sold to retailers. Retailers marked up prices by 300% or more. By the time a shirt reached a customer, it had passed through 5 or 6 middlemen, each one adding cost, each one slowing everything down. After working as a delivery boy, Amancio became an assistant at a tailor's shop. He learned how to make clothes by hand. He learned how to cut fabric, how to sew, how to fit garments perfectly. He studied every step of the process. And he realized if you could control the entire supply chain, design, production, distribution, and retail, you could make clothes faster and cheaper than anyone else in the world. By age 17, in 1953, Amancio started his first business. He organized local women into sewing cooperatives. They made babywear, lingerie, and nightgowns in their homes. Amancio would collect the finished products and sell them to stores. It was a tiny operation, but it worked. And it taught him how to manage production at scale using local labor instead of expensive factories. In 1963, at age 27, Amancio founded Confecciones Go, a bathrobe manufacturing company. He hired his siblings to help. His brother worked on design. His sister handled bookkeeping. And his girlfriend, Rosalia Mera Goyenechea, stitched some of the first products by hand in their living room. They got married in 1966, and together, they slowly built a small but profitable business making bathrobes, nightgowns, and women's lingerie. But Amancio wasn't satisfied. He wanted more. He wanted to revolutionize the entire fashion industry. And in 1975, at age 39, He opened the first Zara store in downtown, La Caruca, just 2 blocks from the gala shop where he had worked as a delivery boy 25 years earlier. The store was small. The inventory was limited. But Amancio had a vision that nobody else in fashion understood. He called it fast fashion. Instead of designing collections 6 months in advance like traditional retailers, Zara would spot trends on fashion runways and in the streets, copy the best designs, manufacture them in Spain using local factories, and deliver new styles to stores within 2 to 3 weeks. Not 6 months. Not 3 months. 2 to 3 weeks. Other fashion companies were outsourcing production to China, Bangladesh, and Vietnam to cut costs. Amancio did the opposite. He kept production close to home in Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. Why? Because speed mattered more than cheap labor. If Zara could get new styles into stores faster than anyone else, customers would keep coming back every single week to see what was new. And that's exactly what happened. Zara stores refreshed their inventory twice per week. Every Monday and Thursday, new clothes arrived. Styles that didn't sell were pulled immediately. No discounts, no clearance sales. Just constant newness. Customers learned that if they saw something they liked at Zara, they had to buy it immediately because it wouldn't be there next week. This created urgency, scarcity, addiction. People started checking Zara stores multiple times per week just to see the latest arrivals. And Zara spent almost nothing on advertising. 0 billboards, 0 TV commercials, 0 celebrity endorsements. Instead, Amancio invested everything in prime real estate locations. He opened flagship stores in historic buildings, converted convents, Art Deco cinemas, landmark architecture in the most expensive shopping districts in the world. The stores themselves were the advertising, and it worked spectacularly. By the early 1980s, Zara had expanded across Spain. Multiple stores in every major city. Revenue was growing fast. In 1985, Amancio created a holding company to manage the growing empire. He called it Inditex, short for Industria de Diseño Textil, which means textile design industry in Spanish. Zara became the flagship brand, but Amancio started adding more brands to the portfolio. In 1988, Zara opened its first international store in Porto, Portugal, then Paris, then New York. The expansion was methodical, disciplined, strategic. Amancio didn't franchise. He kept full control of every store. He owned the real estate when possible. He controlled the supply chain from design to delivery. And he never borrowed money to expand. He reinvested profits. Slow and steady, no debt, no investors. Just organic growth fueled by cash flow. In 1991, Inditex launched a second brand, Pull&Bear, targeting younger customers with casual streetwear. Then came Massimo Dutti in 1995, upscale clothing for professionals. Then Bershka in 1998, edgy fashion for teenagers. Then Stradivarius. Then Oysho. Then Uturk. By the 2000s, Inditex had 8 different fashion brands under one umbrella. But Zara remained the crown jewel, the biggest, the most profitable, the most recognizable. In 2001, Amancio made a decision that shocked the fashion world. He took Inditex public. The company's initial public offering raised 2.4 billion euros. Inditex stock started trading on the Madrid Stock Exchange. And overnight, Amancio Ortega became one of the richest men in Spain. But here's the thing, he kept 59% ownership of the company. He gave up control of 41% to public investors, but he retained majority ownership, which meant he still controlled every major decision. And he got to keep most of the profits. On the day of the IPO, journalists tried to interview Amancio. He declined. He worked his normal schedule. He ate lunch in the company cafeteria with employees. He watched the stock price on TV for 15 minutes. His net worth had just increased by $6 billion in one day. And he went back to work like nothing had happened. Amancio Ortega is the most private billionaire on the planet. Until 1999, no photograph of him had ever been published. He has given only 3 interviews to journalists in his entire life. He refuses to wear a tie. He dresses in a simple uniform every day. Blue blazer, white shirt, gray trousers, none of which are Zara products. He doesn't own a computer. He doesn't have a desk. He doesn't have an office. He works on the design floor with employees. He eats in the cafeteria. He drinks coffee at the same local cafe in La Caruca that he's been going to for 40 years. And despite being worth $147 billion, he lives in the same small apartment building he's lived in for decades. By 2005, Inditex operated over 3,000 stores in 64 countries. Zara was generating billions in revenue. And Amancio's net worth had crossed $10 billion. But the company kept growing. In 2008, during the global financial crisis when retailers everywhere were collapsing, Inditex kept expanding. While competitors closed stores and filed for bankruptcy, Zara opened new locations in Asia, South America, and the Middle East. By 2010, Inditex had over 5,000 stores in 77 countries. Zara alone had over 1,500 stores. The company was generating over 12 billion euros in annual revenue. And Amancio Ortega had become one of the 10 richest people in the world, but he still showed up to work every day. Still ate in the cafeteria, still refused interviews, still dressed the same way. In 2011, at age 75, Amancio officially stepped down as chairman of Inditex. He handed control to Pablo Ayla, the company's vice president and CEO. But Amancio didn't retire. He kept his 59% ownership stake. He remained involved in strategic decisions. And he kept showing up to headquarters in La Coruca almost every day. Then came 2015, a remarkable year. Inditex stock surged. The company's market capitalization exploded. And for a brief period, just a few days, Amancio Ortega's net worth hit $80 billion. He surpassed Bill Gates. He became the richest man in the world. Reporters tried to reach him for comment. He declined. He was at work, eating lunch in the cafeteria, acting like nothing had changed. The title didn't last long. Inditex stock fluctuated. Bill Gates reclaimed the top spot. But Amancio had proven something remarkable. You could become the richest person on earth by selling affordable clothing to middle-class customers. You didn't need to invent the internet. You didn't need to create software. You didn't need to build rockets. You just needed to understand what people wanted and deliver it faster than anyone else. By 2020, Inditex operated over 7,000 stores in 96 countries. The company generated nearly 30 billion euros in annual revenue. Zara had become the most valuable fashion brand in the world. More valuable than Gucci, more valuable than Louis Vuitton, more valuable than Prada. A Spanish company built by a delivery boy from a tiny village in Leon had conquered global fashion. As of 2026, Amancio Ortega is 89 years old. His net worth is $147 billion. He is the second wealthiest person in Europe after Bernard Arnault. He is the 10th wealthiest person in the world. He owns 59% of Inditex, which is now worth over 100 billion euros. The company operates 7,400 stores in 96 countries and employs over 165,000 people globally. Annual revenue exceeds $40 billion. But Amancio isn't just sitting on his wealth. He's become one of the most generous philanthropists in Europe. In 2001, he established the Amancio Ortega Foundation, which focuses on education and healthcare. In 2012, he donated 20 million euros to Caritas Internationalis, a Catholic relief organization, the largest single donation in the charity's history. In 2017, he donated 320 million euros to Spain's public healthcare system to purchase cancer treatment equipment for hospitals across the country. That single donation equipped 70 hospitals with state-of-the-art radiotherapy machines. In 2024, he created a 100 million euro fund to help victims of severe flooding in Valencia. Through his investment firm, Pontegadilla Inversiones, Amancio has also built a massive real estate empire. He owns premium office buildings, logistics centers, and retail properties in Madrid, Barcelona, London, New York, Chicago, Miami, Seattle, and dozens of other major cities worldwide. These properties generate hundreds of millions in rental income every year. And Pontegadilla reinvests that income into more real estate, more infrastructure, and more diversification. Amancio Ortega married Rosalia Mera in 1966. They had 2 children together, Sandra Ortega Mera and Marcos Ortega Mera. The couple divorced in 1986. Rosalia became the second largest shareholder of Inditex and was one of the wealthiest women in Spain until she died from a brain hemorrhage in August 2013. Sandra inherited her mother's stake in Inditex and is now worth over $10 billion herself, making her the richest woman in Spain. Amancio later remarried. His current wife is Flora Perez Marcote. They live quietly in La Coruca. Amancio's daughter, Marta Ortega Perez, has been groomed to eventually take over Inditex. She started working at Zara as a saleswoman in a London store. She worked her way up through the company. And in 2022 she became the chairwoman of Inditex, taking over from Pablo Ayla. The family dynasty continues. So what do we learn from the story of Amancio Ortega? First, he saw an entire industry built on inefficiency and fixed it. Traditional fashion retailers designed collections 6 to 9 months in advance. They outsourced production to Asia. They shipped inventory slowly. By the time clothes reached stores, trends had already changed. Amancio eliminated all of that. He kept production close to home. He cut lead times from 6 months to 3 weeks. He refreshed stores twice per week instead of twice per season. And he made customers addicted to constant newness. Second, he never sacrificed speed for cost. Every other fashion company in the 1980s and 1990s was moving production to China, Vietnam, and Bangladesh to save money on labor. Amancio kept 70% of production in Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. Labor costs were higher, but speed was faster. And speed created competitive advantage. When a trend hit the runway, Zara had it in stores within 3 weeks. Competitors took 6 months. That speed was worth billions. Third, he controlled the entire supply chain from design to delivery. Zara designs its own clothes, manufactures them in company-owned or closely partnered factories, ships them through company-controlled distribution centers, sells them in company-owned stores. There are no middlemen, no wholesalers, no franchises. Amancio controls every step. That vertical integration allows Zara to move faster, react quicker, and keep more profit than any competitor. Fourth, he built a business that generates cash instead of consuming it. Amancio never took on debt to expand. He reinvested profits. Every new store was paid for with cash from existing stores. Every new brand was funded by Zara's success. By the time Inditex went public in 2001, the company was already massively profitable with zero debt. And that financial discipline allowed Inditex to keep growing through every economic crisis while competitors collapsed. And fifth, he stayed humble despite unimaginable wealth. Amancio Ortega is worth $147 billion. He could buy anything, live anywhere, do anything. But he still lives in the same modest apartment in La Caruca. He still eats lunch in the company cafeteria. He still drinks coffee at the same local cafe. He still refuses to give interviews or chase publicity. He built one of the most valuable companies in the world and remained the most private billionaire on earth. The 13-year-old delivery boy who watched his mother get humiliated at a grocery store became the second richest man in Europe. The dropout who learned to sew in a tailor's shop revolutionized global fashion. The husband and wife who stitched bathrobes by hand in their living room built a company worth over 100 billion euros. This has been the true story of Amancio Ortega and Zara. If this one inspired you, subscribe to the channel. Share this video. Drop a comment below and tell us which part hit you the hardest. Because this is proof that you don't need a fancy education, venture capital, or connections to build an empire. You just need to see what everyone else is missing, work harder than anyone else, and never give up.